Hello and welcome to Two Girls in a Pod. I am Sharon.
I'm Christy.
Hope all of you are doing well, wonderful, fantastic, all that other fun stuff. The sun's shining.
And the sun is shining, thank God.
I don't know, it's weird. I've been talking to a lot of people this week and a lot of my clients and not realizing just how hard this winter has been, not because of our cold or we've had snow, but it's we've had so much cloud coverage.
Yeah, and it makes the spring fever even worse.
Well, I think, you realize we're not used to that here in Colorado. We usually have so many sunny days and man, what happened?
I was thinking, I want to look up the statistics on that. It used to be said that it was like 300 and some days of sunshine in Colorado. And I feel like for the last 2 years, we have had more than our fair share of cloudy days.
Not only that, I think it's been increasing a little bit and, it's affecting people.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I know even for us, we've been there talking, oh my God, we want to get out. We want to do our hiking. We want to do that. And then you look out and it's like all cloudy and you're thinking, oh my God, what is it, like 5 o'clock? And it's only like 10 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really, the spring here is really wet a lot of times. So then it even makes trail all muddy and yeah.
Oh, but I think that's a really great segue. One of the things we want to talk about today is movement. Why is moving so important to us as human beings? And, I thought it was very fascinating. I took a training and don't ask me a whole lot of the rest of the training, but what really stuck out is when he said, as human beings, we are made to move.
Yeah.
Our movement is so important to us, whatever movement it is.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that people don't realize is that it doesn't even have to be a lot. I mean, if it is a lot, you'll see the benefits of that, but even the smallest movements is beneficial to you.
I know. And, it's funny because I'm always moving.
You are always moving. And I think you had mentioned that he even said about that in the training, that even if you are stuck at a desk, having movement, even with the hands and those kind of things, we've talked about the importance too about, because you do back-to-back sessions every day, even getting up in between those sessions just to get a few steps in.
And I do. I've made that part of my practice. It's a little harder on Wednesdays because I'm in office. Mm-hmm. And so if my client's here, I don't like to make them wait. So I'll go right in. And so I don't get as many, if I'm lucky if I get about 2,000 steps or a little over 2,000 on that day. But when I'm at home, I make it a practice of pausing, getting up, walking, go up and down our stairs, do something really to keep that movement going. And, I find that it helps me to feel different.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I do have to tell you, I tend to play with the Slinky in session. They can't hear it because, of course, headphones and stuff like that. Yesterday, my last client, I'm doing the Slinky and I'm there like, oh, shit. It got stuck in my cord for my headphones. So I tell him, I said, just 1 minute, please. So I take my headphones off and I'm getting them out. I put my headphones back on and he just kind of looked at it. I said, okay, I cannot tell a lie. I said, my headphones got caught in my Slinky. He goes, oh, do you have a Slinky? He goes, I have a Slinky at work that I use, but it's only a little finger one. He goes, I've never got it to do the tricks. And I said, oh yeah, you can make it go downstairs and stuff like that. So then we start talking about a Slinky. But even like, even like with him, he talked about having that. And so even when I'm in session, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether I'm watching, I tend to move.
So what many of our friends have learned about Sharon is that she always has fidget toys. Those are big for her. So she's gone through several of them. She'll play with them until they fall apart. And she has to have something like that. So even in times that she's gone to trainings or anything like that, she always has fidget toys with her, which is a good idea.
In my defense, as a play therapist, I would go to trainings and they give you this bag with little fidgets. And actually, they gave us a little rainbow colored Slinky this one time. And so my coworker's next to me and the person speaking. So I'm doing my Slinky and I'm very engrossed in my Slinky. I probably should have been more engrossed in the speech. I admit it. But I really was fascinated with the Slinky and how I can make the colors do different things. And, and I'm doing all this. And then all of a sudden, my coworker kind of taps me. And so I pause. They're no longer speaking. The speaker's no longer talking. They're all watching me with my Slinky.
Yeah.
I had to put my slinky away. It was very sad. But once again, it's movement. That movement is part of life. You know, one of the things you start to realize is that when you start to see people slow down, they don't get as much, they're not getting up and walking. And I know that was very hard for my dad. My dad, oh my God, he was a walker and he was a fast walker. My poor mom. Mom just was like, I'm going to get there. She wasn't going to run the race. You know what I'm saying? My dad, asked Christy.
Yeah. So as they got older, none of that changed. He was always off and on the go. So Sharon, she walks fast too, like him. So they were always walking ahead, and I was always staying back with her mom, walking with her mom because so much slower. And yeah.
It wasn't that she couldn't walk fast. She just didn't show the need. I think even like you.
Mm-hmm.
So we've learned in our relationship that I slow my step down a little bit and she brings hers up a little bit, but we'll still do that because we'll be walking and I'm talking and she'll stop and do something, but she don't tell me nothing. And then, I'm there talking and then I turn around and there's a complete stranger there willing to answer my questions sometimes. So anyway, you find those in relationships, right? But that movement is so important. And I saw that with my dad because movement was so important. He was such an active man. He loved being out in the fields and just tinkering and doing those kind of things. And then, when he started to slow down, you would see that because when we slow down the movement of our body, I think it slows down the movement in our brain. I really do think there's this correlation between the two.
Well, I think it has a huge impact on the mental because, you're used to being able to move, or whatever you normally do. And all of a sudden, if you're not able to, that really, it affects you. So I think that
We saw that with your mom.
yeah, I mean, my mom, she was pretty much bedridden for, I don't know, the last couple, last year, because they would get her up and use her power chair prior to that, or wheelchair. And then it got to where that she couldn't. And so I know that really had an impact on her. And even with that, we tried to encourage her to keep moving your legs, keep, doing the little things that you can do. I know a lot of times in some of the facilities, nursing homes, things like that, there are a lot of people that can't be mobile in that way and move their legs in that, but they'll do chair exercises and stuff like that. And I know they did some of that with my mom.
Well, and I think the other thing with your mom too is she loved to draw. So she was still using her hands as long as she could and stuff like that. And once again, whether it's fidgets or it's movement of any kind, just having that movement, and I know even for us, and I think that creates some of that antsy feeling too, with people when they're waiting for winter to end so they can get back outside. And we'll get back outside. What are they doing? They're moving.
Mm-hmm.
And you start seeing a change in mood and everything.
And I think a lot of that happens even on the backside. We don't even realize that it's having an impact in that way. A lot of times, I think people hunker down and kind of hibernate through the winter or whatever. And maybe you're watching a lot of TV or something. I don't know. But you get caught up in doing those things and you don't realize sometimes that you have this underlying sort of agitation, I think, that starts to happen. And I think it comes from that lack of movement.
I agree. Because I even know on days where we'll sit down, we'll say, let's take the day off. We're just staying in our jammies or something, But then I find that we're not, your energy, it's like your energy level just goes down.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get up and we do a little bit, it doesn't even have to, even if it's a day we're taking off now, we just don't do it that way. Because we sat there and said, wait a minute, this ain't working, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, our energy's down. We're not as animated or whatever that is, that you notice about yourself. But we noticed that about each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, this is not working. It didn't feel as good as I thought it was going to.
Yeah, because you think about it being, just a time to relax or that, which relaxation is great, but you still need that movement. It's important to your mental.
And, I find that, one of the things we do is we eat a breakfast every day because that's part of our whole health thing and that. So for me, that requires me to have movement.
Yeah.
I do the breakfast, she does the coffee. Those two roles do not reverse. No. I haven't made coffee in so long, I just don't know if I could do it.
And you sure don't want me to make breakfast.
That is such a true statement, y'all. Because you talk about making somebody gets angry.
Yeah, I don't like to cook.
I mean, look at that face. It's so hard to believe, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's not something you like to do. But so we get up, we do that, and then we get steps. And I always tell you one of my things is I always like to get at least a mile in before I start my job. The cool thing is when it gets warmer, then we actually get out and we can walk and do some other stuff, which kind of is fun too. But we stopped using the excuse of, oh my God, it's cold outside, we can't do that. I don't know why we didn't get a treadmill. We have other workout equipment. We have a spin bike. We have
Wow.
a rower. We have all these things. We did not get a treadmill.
We need space.
Yeah, all of our equipment takes up our room,
Yeah.
the space of our room. But it was that thing of, oh, we don't have that, early on, not now, we've been doing this for a little bit, but that would be our excuse. Oh, it's cold outside. We're not going to walk, all this other stuff we use as excuses.
Well, and for years you've had a lot of allergy issues. So getting out in the elements sometimes was quite a challenge.
A horrible challenge. And I know so many more people have allergies, and I know that actually comes into play, and I can respect that because it was really bad. I was there like, no, I can go out and I can do this and I can walk in the woods. I'm allergic to things out in the woods. I'm allergic to everything outside. And, I thought one day, what, forget this. I do some allergy. It's called Kick-Ass Allergy.
It's an all natural.
It's an all natural thing. It tastes like I'm eating the outdoors. Just like it does not taste good. But what I found is it really does help. So I can do some of that. And now I'm not on any allergy medication. My allergies get really bad, or if I know I'm going to go out and maybe do those kind of hikes and stuff, I do the Kick-Ass Allergy, and I can actually do it now. So a lot of things have changed too. But I think also the fact that we're moving.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge thing, even for that overall health and stuff, is that movement that we're doing. We really work on keeping that consistent.
It really contributes to a strong, healthy immune system, I feel like. And you're right, not having those kind of excuses, because even moving inside your house, whether it means that you're running in place or those kind of things, we have implemented that stuff.
Well, and I think the thing is like I said, I think before, and people will say that, well, I don't have the exercise equipment, or, come on, we make up all kinds of excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's that lack of commitment to what we're doing. And it doesn't matter what it is. And we're all guilty of it at some point in our lives. And, sometimes you're on board and the other person's not on board, and vice versa, because we've gone through that. So she might be on board, I'm not. And then we flip, and, it's just that. But, once you get that synchronicity, it's really amazing. And so now, I think we really not push each other, but encourage each other.
Yeah. And I think that what you find is, because a lot of times it's just the getting started that is the biggest challenge of it. Because then once you get started and you start feeling the benefits of it, you are inspired and encouraged to continue on.
Exactly. Because something that really motivates one is when you're walking up the stairs, and by the time you get to the top, flight, it's only, and then you think, oh my God, that was a lot. And you look down, you've only gone up 7 steps and you're breathing.
Yeah.
Now we can run stairs. We don't breathe heavy. We can walk and talk. But, seriously, those things, you don't really realize how that lack of movement, and that's what it is. We didn't realize it, even that we just had to have movement. When I was doing that, where I would just do back to back. And, when I was in office, I would go into my office and I would do this. And so people probably thought I had the weakest bladder in the world. But after every session, I would get up and walk to the bathroom. Well, that was the furthest spot from my office. So that's where I could go in that short period of time. So I go in. The other thing is I wash my hands in between every session. It just, we just do, I don't know. Another therapist talked about that too. But it's that movement, but that was all I was getting.
Yeah.
Because I was starting like at 9 o'clock and I was finishing like at 6. So by the time we would get home, I'm there like, I don't want to friggin' walk.
Well, there's so many health benefits to that piece of it too. Like you say, sitting in front of a computer all day, we've heard that but actually getting up and getting away, walking away from the computer, getting your eyes off a screen for a little bit, even if it's only for a few minutes, if you do that every, little bit, I think it really does help you.
Absolutely. And I think that going to, when I went to complete telehealth, that was something, that at first I didn't do that right away. And then I was like, it feels so much better when I'm moving. I think for me, what it does too is it's like a little mini reset. So I reset from one client to the next client, which is very helpful. But even like on the weekends, we've gotten to where that movement is so important to us. We keep it. And like I said, the bright idea of, oh no, let's have that down day. Oh God. And we had it and they're like, that was not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I always sit there and say, well, let's just sit there. And, people, you got to binge watch his. We don't binge watch anything. I can't now.
Yeah.
I remember the day when I could. Yeah. But now, we might get maybe 2 or 3 episodes in and then it's like, oh, now what do you want to do?
Yeah. Let's take a break from that and do something else.
Yeah. And it's something to do with getting up and moving and, just the importance of it. And like I said, that when he said that in that training, it really made me just stop. And, he talked about what the importance of movement. He went in more to the science of it and stuff. And I was just there like, oh, wait a minute. We were born to move. And I thought about that from the time we come out of even in the womb. You're moving.
Movement.
The moment you can move, you're moving, man.
Yeah. And that's what people have to realize. I think that, there's a lot of people out there that are dealing with different types of ailments and things like that.
Absolutely.
And maybe they don't feel like moving and that, but understanding that any movement that you have and what a gift that is to be able to do that, even if it's not, maybe if you're not able to move your legs or that, like I said about, the chair exercises that they did with, the arms and stuff, or whatever it is, like you sitting there playing with your fidget toy, there is movement. And because if you sit there and you're just still, those muscles start to atrophy, you get down on yourself because it becomes even harder when you do try to do it.
And I think that's a really good point, because I think what happens sometimes in the mind is there, oh, I really should get up and move, and then, or I should get up and walk, or I should do something. And then you don't do it. Then, that time period goes by and then you beat yourself up because, well, now I didn't go do it. And now I'm just a piece of crap. All sorts of stuff comes into play.
Yeah.
No wonder I breathe heavy when I walk 5 steps. It's my fault.
We can't bend over to tie your shoe. Yeah.
I need to pause halfway to catch my breath. No, exactly. I think those things are happening with people. But that movement is so vital. And once again, it doesn't matter what it is, what that movement is. And I get it, when you're in pain, you don't want to move.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that our pain also keeps us so focused on the pain. We're so focused on the pain. We forget, if my back is hurting, which is, I've had a little issue with that, and I thought, you know what? My back's hurting, my legs aren't. But it was hard because I'm thinking, I just hurt. It is. You have to kind of get into a very different mental space in order to realize that what's not hurting can be moved.
Well, and we talk a lot about the energy that you feed. So I really feel like that we have a little device at home that you exercise your fingers with, that you squeeze.
It's for gripping.
Yeah, it's for gripping. If that is all that you could do, and you were focused on that to really build your strength in your hands, say, for example, those things, if you're focused on something like that, I feel like that feeding that energy is going to give you maybe the strength to do something else. It'll lead to more.
And I agree. And I always tell people, it's baby steps. It's not like go out and run a marathon.
Mm-mm.
What we thought was really cool was last year we were doing some hiking and we decided we're going to run some of these.
Yeah.
And we were there like, oh my God, we can, and we kept talking.
Yes.
And it was like, oh, what a feat.
Yeah.
We were like Rocky in that thing. I'm like, yeah.
When you realize that you have built up that kind of conditioning to where that you could accomplish something like that, because I never realized that I could. And I enjoy running the trails so much. I love that.
And I think it's really interesting because you grew up with really not a whole lot of movement.
Mhm.
And when you think back to not having that movement, what is the body like? I don't know, I didn't have that opportunity. Remember, I grew up on that farm. Dad and mom didn't understand those words.
Yeah, I feel like that I'm in such a different place than the way that I grew up and what I believed about myself, growing up. I feel like that I hid a lot of the time. I wasn't in shape and I didn't go out and I didn't do things like that. I wasn't, I didn't put myself out there in that way. So I feel like I am of such a different mindset and I feel so much better.
Well, and I think that's the other thing, is we're even where we come from and all of those things, like I said, we're the complete opposite in that way. Everybody in my family moves.
Yeah.
She'd been around us. None of us are still people.
Mhm.
We're always doing something. But I think that's kind of what's cool, which is so different. And, because when we got together, and then we would start taking walks.
Mhm.
We would go walk to the park in the place that we lived, and it was just gradual things, but you wouldn't come all the time. And then, after you started, then you would start coming a little bit more. And I think that that's the other thing. We have so many self-image problems, and our self-image keeps us from movement, which is it's movement that's going to change our self-image.
Yes. The more you do it, the more you realize how capable you are.
And I thought that was interesting because I know we had a conversation and you were saying that, you did not realize like you were capable,
Yeah.
and like you didn't have confidence to run,
I didn't see myself as an athletic kind of person at all. Neither did anybody else because I never did anything like that. Yeah.
and I think that was one of the things, when you started this, you said it wasn't about losing weight, it was about being stronger.
Yeah.
Why was that important?
I mean, losing weight's great, icing on the cake for somebody that didn't start out that way. But, I felt like that I wanted to feel capable. And through that physical strength, I felt that it was empowering.
So physical, because, one of the things is you do more weight training now. Did you ever do that growing up?
Oh, no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
nothing like that.
She didn't even do PE, people.
Nope.
Jeez. Not even PE.
No, nothing like that.
So you were really not, were you one of those kids who just went and stayed in your room?
Pretty much a lot of the time. Yeah. I mean, our church group would play softball and I went faithfully all the time, but it was just to hang out with friends and talk and watch the game. And I loved watching it. There's something about watching baseball, softball, that kind of thing. I do love watching it, but it's not.
Just so you know, yesterday I'm working. She was upstairs. And so I get off my session. I go up and I'm thinking, what am I here? She has the Dodger game on.
First day, spring training. Yeah.
And what was that score again?
14-1.
But yeah,
Good.
and I mean, it's even watching it. It's just that activity, and getting out, moving, whatever that is, because once again, I really do believe that it is so tied into the mind, and when we're mobile, there's a sense of independence.
Yes.
It's like if I'm mobile, I can go places, I can do things. There's an independence about me,
Mhm.
And that's why people, if they're not mobile, they're getting their walkers and stuff. And you see those people, I just love that, they're out there pushing, moving along. Doesn't matter.
We, where we live, not that far away, there's it's not an old age home.
Assisted
It's
living.
assisted, yeah. And there's a group of elderly that walk around the block by our house.
And there's
Thankfully.
one in particular. Every day he is out there walking and you can just see it.
And some days he kind of scares me because I'll see him come down the road and he doesn't look real stable. And I'm thinking, oh man, I hope he doesn't pip it. But he does.
Hasn't yet.
He gets out there like every day.
Yes. And it's so amazing because you just see it. And as he's been walking more, his step has increased a little bit and things like that. I remember when back home, a lot of people would walk because it was this very small community. And I remember we looked out the window one day and there was this man walking. He is very big, very big.
Yeah.
But even when he was walking, it was like slow. And it was almost like half steps.
I mean,
That's what,
super slow.
but extremely heavy.
Yeah.
But we got to watch this man. We got to watch his progress because it was right outside our window. He walked the same little route.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to watch the transformation in him.
Yes.
I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah. When we say walk at a slow pace, I can't even tell you. I mean, he would walk extremely slow.
And
But-
almost like pause after the step.
Mhm.
So it was just like almost like a sloth.
Yeah. But over time, you saw
Oh my goodness.
the weight started dropping off. He was able to move just a little bit more. You could see him increase his pace a little.
And, we ended up moving, but, we asked somebody and they were telling us that he had lost a lot of weight and he had just continued to walk.
Mhm.
Think about that. That gave him freedom. That gave him mobility because when he first started, you could tell it was a struggle, but to have that determination and that consistency was amazing.
And I would imagine he brought himself back from a brink of he was probably wheelchair bound at
or
that
at least bedridden or something. 'Cause
at the first of when he started, and he reversed that. I mean, you could see such a difference.
And that's what I mean. That even in that thing, even as we watched him walk the first few a little bit, as you could just see it was more concentrated. But then you could see the elevation in that mood. He was looking around, he was, taking stuff in, and you could see that change in it, and I think that we would do that with June, our neighbor. It was our sister. We would do that with her. Sometimes you would just kind of feel if you weren't feeling the best mood or whatever, instead of sitting around, when you would have that, neighbor, do you want to go for a walk? Or do you want to go for a walk? And just how you would feel afterwards.
Yep. Improve the mood.
And I think movement, is good, not only for the body, but I mean, for the mood itself, to keep moving, to have that thing. And like I said, for me, even if it's something as simple as my slinky or my magnets too, or I have several little toys at my desk. But I couldn't use the magnet because they were making too much noise, and I think it was annoying Christina.
It's probably annoying the client.
They don't hear because we have headphones on, so no. But and sometimes even in my sessions, when I had my when I was doing play therapy, I had little fidgets and stuff, and my clients would be eyeballing them, and then I was like, "Do you want to play with the slinky or something? Can I?" And, so it was like that thing. But I think there's just something about it, about that movement, about that feel. And like I said, when it's walking and stuff like that, and, it's just interesting things like that. And, I think too, it can maybe be discouraging sometimes because if we're talking about movement where you're trying to develop something, I would keep telling her, Christy has amazing calves. For somebody who has no movement, and when I say this, I kid you not, she has very muscular, amazing freaking calves. And I'm thinking, where did those come from?
Well, because I told you when I was a kid, I was one of those kids that walked on my tiptoes the whole time, all the time. I was always running around barefooted, and I always was walking on my tiptoes. So I would imagine that's probably how that happened.
Well, those were some great tiptoe and walking days, because I'm telling you right now. And so I was like, oh my God, and here I am working my calves. And finally, I'm there like, oh my God, I just want, and she goes, you have muscle on your calves. And I'm there like, no, I don't. And maybe TMI. Anyway, I go to shave my legs. I'm like, oh my God, there's a muscle there.
It happens over time, especially when you stay consistent. All we talk about, and I know you consistently do your, they call it calf raises, yeah, and so it's paying off.
But they're good for circulation.
That too.
But no, it's one of those things. And once again, whatever the reason is that you're doing the movement, the thing is just keep doing the movement. That's really the most vital and important thing is move, 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 move.
Whatever you can.
Believe it or not, reading a book, any of that, it's still movement. You turn pages, or I guess now with Kindles or that, or tablets, you just flip the page, but you're moving, your eyes are moving, you're tracking, you're doing something. So movement can be very small things, and it doesn't have to be huge things, but movement, keeping the brain and the body moving, it's so vital to our life, extending out our life, I believe, and just being able to, and you feel it not just in your body, you just feel it in your mind. Or I do anyway. But I think other people, we've talked to other people, and when they're out doing stuff, they have such a different energy about them. And, I just feel like if we could just get everybody up and moving. And, I like, when they have those, when you think historically, when the first ladies or whoever were doing get up and move, and all that stuff, get up and dancing.
Dancing is a great way to get your movement in.
It is. And in fact, we dance a little bit in our kitchen.
Quite often.
Yes, that's a fun place for us. And we actually found a sign that we have in our kitchen that says the kitchen is for dancing.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Somebody had the same idea we did.
Exactly.
And they put it into words.
Yeah.
And put it on a little plaque, and now it's sitting in our kitchen. But it's a good representation. But we love to dance. Yeah. And you know what I think is interesting is when I think about my grandma, my mom's mom, I remember this so clearly. She comes over to visit. She was already 90 years old.
Yeah.
And we were at our house, and my nephew was there too. And we put on some Spanish music, and my grandmother, 90-year-old grandmother, she out there dancing on our hardwood floors, having a good old time. We were out dancing, and you could just see that in her. She loved to dance. My family loved to dance. My parents danced and stuff like that. So that's what I mean. 90 years old, and she is still out there dancing.
Yeah.
And to me, it was just such an amazing, amazing thing to see, and to see her, just the joy in her.
Well, it's been a great way to create some really great memories, because we've had family and friends come over and dance in the kitchen with us and stuff as we're doing different things. So, I mean,
even one of our friends who does not dance, and you know who we're talking about out there.
Yeah, she knows.
She knows. She danced with us.
Yeah.
And it was such a great memory.
Yeah.
Okay, we might have given her glass or two of wine. No. No, it was just fun.
Yeah.
And so for us, our kitchen, we haven't danced with June in our kitchen. That's on our list.
Yeah.
Do you hear that, June? Next time you come for a visit, we're going to be dancing in the kitchen.
There we go.
But I think it's so, have we done with Sandra? Oh, June, Sandra, got to get you in the kitchen. Not to cook. I like to do the cooking, but we do dance. But I think that's the thing. It creates, like you said, those really great memories as well. So the movement itself, whether it's dance, it's fidgeting, it's walking, running, ballet, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
When we were driving, there's a guy, he's got a little kid on the tricycle. Well, he was having movement. However, the little kid was not pedaling. He was sitting. I don't think that counts.
No.
But whatever it is, get out there. Movement, I think is just so important. And it's so much, we were born to move. And I think if we keep that in the forefront of our mind, that we were born to move.
Yes.
Then I think people would have more of that movement. I always encourage my clients, get out, do something, go out, just walk out, be in the sun. Now that we have some, in our town, I don't understand why y'all ain't out there. When we have sun, why are you guys not out there? You'll be such much happier people. We all are.
Yes.
Everybody
needs their vitamin D.
Really. But that's the thing. So hopefully, now that you guys know, if you didn't know that we were born to move, you'll get out there, you'll move. And like I said, movement takes place anywhere. When we're driving, sometimes when you take those long trips, sometimes you pull over at a rest stop or something. or a gas station.
Stretch
Because
your
you
legs.
got to go stretch your legs and get your beef jerky and Cheetos. I don't know, whatever. God, I miss those days.
I was saying that was back in the day.
No, but you get out there and you walk around a little bit. And when you get back in the car, you actually feel different.
Yeah.
You break that monotony and you start to feel a little bit better in all of those things. So whether it's traveling or whatever it is you're doing,
Mhm.
move. Whatever that movement is, reading a book, movement, anything.
Mhm.
Sandra's going to love that. She's going to say, oh, look at all that movement I've been doing all these days.
Well, it keeps your mind active, and that's an
Yes.
important part of it.
Because your mind's moving.
Yeah.
The thing is when we stop moving physically, we stop moving mentally because we get stuck.
Mhm.
So the mind's not moving in the same way either.
It's almost like
So-
you become stagnant and just kind of there. You're just dormant.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. Let's not be dormant.
Right.
Let's keep that fluidity going, moving.
Keep
moving.
those joints supple.
That's what we got to do, people. But anyway, as always, we are so grateful for everybody. And we're grateful for all of our current listeners. And we're always grateful for all the new listeners we take on.
Yes.
We love what we do.
We are available on wherever you get your podcasts,
Two Girls.
Spotify, wherever you get it. And Two Girls on a Pod, Life's Journey is the name. So you can find us also on Facebook, Instagram, and if you would like, catch Adventures of Two Girls in a Pod on YouTube.
Life's Journey.
Yes.
Yeah, because, like I told y'all, I love my mixology. So doing a little bit of mixology on there. So if you want to go check out the old fashioned or the top shelf margarita. And if you have ideas for another drink, send it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. One of the things that even like with that, I said, let's do something that people can do, in their homes that, you don't have to, maybe some stuff you already have there, but it's such a fun thing for me. That's another way I'm moving. I'm shaking most things up and, it's fun for me.
This is true. And I like that you do, some simplified kind of drinks and that too, because I know that there are a lot of designer ones out there with a lot of different ingredients and things like that, which is cool.
Because I'm going to do some of them fancy schmancy drinks too.
But yeah, I mean, it's nice just to have like some simplified recipes for some of those things too.
Like, comment, follow,
subscribe.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things we have to remember these days. I'm telling you. But anyway, once again, we appreciate you and we will be back next week. So thank you so much. And anything else you got to add?
No.
You sure?
Nope.
Okay, just checking.
Thanks.
Bye.